There we go. Welcome in, everybody. Joe Quills here with you on this Tuesday night. As you can tell, I am really out of sorts tonight because you know what? I'm not even plugging in the headphones tonight. Screw it. It's been one of those days. Started out great, then slowly went into the shitter. So if you're listening to this after the fact, I will let you know that. Um, Things don't sound it may sound a little bit different, may sound better, may sound worse, but I'm not using my bulky ass headset tonight because um, I just don't feel like putting it on tonight. But anyways, a lot going on here. Catching up on some stories here. See if I can get through everything that I planned here tonight with the Yankees getting Bellinger, portal stuff, the new All Star Game format, and maybe live on Fox. Not Liv Tyler, but Liv the golf tour. So we'll see if we can get that all in the next 90 minutes. We have a hard out at 11 o'clock tonight because Captain Ron will be following me tonight on the Bleacher Brothers uh, uh, platforms. So, so I definitely want to. Um, I didn't want that one, you dumbass. Um, keep everything um, running smoothly here. Um, so we do have a um, way out of sorts tonight. So forgive me for that. Um, so we'll see what goes on here tonight, and hopefully we don't have any issues here till 11 o'clock. So Captain Ron uh, will be on later on. We'll be watching later on. He's on 11 o'clock, and I'll lead you up to his show, and we'll rate him. We'll rate the Bleacher Brothers Twitch because I am on my personal Twitch. So I said this the other day. I said this last night to Mike, and thankfully my clothes don't stink, for lack of a better term. Um, basically, um, there is a leak issue in the washroom where we have our communal washer and dryers in the building on each floor. Well, actually, let me begin at the very beginning of the day. So, yesterday I had my blood test because I got to go see the doctor in the morning. My quarterly checkup. Oh, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. Same shit, different 3 month period. I passed the blood test. My blood was red, but not seriously. Um, but got the alert on my phone. I'm like, okay. Well, actually, I got it. I saw it when it was like 5 o'clock in the morning when I woke up. I was like, I'm not gonna look at it right now. So I went back to sleep. I set my alarm for 7. Still didn't get out of bed till 9:30 because of what I'm going to tell you that pisses me off to no end. So, and I didn't write my article, or I didn't. No, I didn't even write the article for today, which I wrote. So, I ended up. Um, I ended up going to posting it like right at 11 o'clock. I had it drop 11:15, all that. I'm like, okay, good. Now I can finish getting ready to start work at 11:30, a couple of feet away from where I sit during the show. Then all hell breaks loose. Well, not that bad, but it's just like you're in a good mood. It's even though it's Tuesday, I got 3 more days. Actually, 3 more days of work in the calendar year because I was supposed to have off on Monday as an excuse day. I had to burn that because I had to burn a third and final excuse day. And in my job at Redacted Company, through the collective bargaining agreement, you have to use one of them as scheduled. So I ended up looking at the schedule a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I gave that up. But I was like, you know what? I need that. I'd rather have that Friday off than the 30th. So I emailed her. You know, I actually gave that day up, but the reason why I'm not telling you after the fact is more because of helping you out. Not to get yourself into trouble. So um, she goes, "Oh, thanks. I fixed my spreadsheet. Blah blah blah." Okay. So she missed the excuse that I had, but I got paid for it. So I know I got paid for it because it says because everything I have for the calendar year is breaking down into hours, and it's three times the number of hours I work. So I'm like, okay, well, the three short notice days were that. So I look, I'm off on Monday as a regular day off, and I have a vacation day on Tuesday because that's the vacation day I get because the holiday week for this week. So since I have that and we're closed on New Year's Day, so I have an extended or are we open on New Year's Day? If we are open on New Year's Day, it's not that big of a deal to me, but whatever it is, I still have a couple extra days that I have off now. So I was like, all right, I'm really feeling good right now. I see the schedule. All right. And the callers come in and they start yelling and screaming and not speaking clearly. So I'm like, ugh. So then I take the trash out on my first break. So I mean, it used to be we used to have an actually across from the laundry room where it's a room that was dedicated to throwing your trash. Well, management claims it's collecting a trash there that caused mice get here. No, it wasn't that. It was the fact that you leave that bottom door open. Penguin, welcome in. Starting a little late here, but we finally got started here tonight. Um, so, so management does know this whole laundry situation. So I'm like, so one of the things that they want to do now, what I'm hoping is I get to be the real dick of the apartment building because even though I could just say fuck this place and be gone in May. Remember, I got a work at home agreement that goes until I think 26. Uh, I'm not going to fly that in because you mentioned the redacted company name. but just to say what Penguin AZ did say there, shout out to Refresh Your Work for redacted customer service. Um, so so the guy who does the painting in the building, I think he even lives in this building, and a lady on the ground floor. Well, just to let you know, Penguin, I just didn't want to fly that in because even though my complaint's not with redacted company, it's more with this apartment building. So, um, you know, I just, if I do go on a rant about my job or the redacted company, I don't want to fly that in. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I'm doing it. So, but I mean, you can mention it. I don't care. But I just won't fly it in or intentionally fly it in. So, um, so the lady on the ground floor and the maintenance guy were talking, and I'm just trying to not disrupt their conversation. So The painter, acknowledged that there's an issue on the third floor. It's leaking onto the second floor. It's leaking onto the first floor. And it's more of a complaint to the contractor, if it is a contractor, that they got these machines from. At least I think. Because none of the fucking machines work. Because the reason why I was half an hour late tonight was because, well, even though you could say, well, Joe, couldn't you have done it at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, walking around the corner to the laundromat? Yeah, but my ass was tired. So, so I ended up going there right after work, and the fun just gets started. Now, I don't know if the quarter machine was running low or not, but all I had on me was a $20 bill because I had to hit the ATM earlier today. Ironically, I walked next door to where the laundromat is, to the beer distributor. I get my $20. I come back home while I was on lunch. I go to put the $20 bill in. It won't take. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. All because of the lack of maintenance to these goddamn machines. And it's also the people in this fucking building that don't understand that you use only liquid detergent in these fucking machines. So then I ran across the street to McDonald's and I got something to eat, which I didn't want to do because I figured, okay, I'll just eat something right before the start, or maybe I sneak home for the 30 minutes it took for the washer to take place, eat something real quick, and then go back and do my and dry my stuff. So and guy gave me 2 5s. I was like, oh, good. At least I can get the wash done because if worse comes to worse, I'll bring my wet clothes back in the. Actually, I used my luggage case. I was like, well, if worse comes to worse, I got $20 on that card. I'll use the dryer and finish it off in here, which maybe I should have done. But I went. I got 2 5s. I was like, if these 5s don't work, I am going to freak out. Thankfully, it worked, and I have what's left here. So, because I told the guy, and he was laughing his ass off when I said it. I said, "Yeah, I mean, it's a real pain in the ass because I got to walk around the corner to the laundromat there, and I mean, and I had him laughing because I have my clothes in essential clothes and not essential clothes. The essential clothes are the socks, the underwear, the Bleacher Brothers shirts that I have, my pants, my shorts, things that I would wear every day because, it's so goddamn hot in here. I'm wearing shorts every day. Well, not tonight because I literally just walked in right before I clicked start. So, all that work, and Captain Ron is typing to me right now. So, I'll wait to see what he says. But, that's my day in a nutshell. Started out good, got good test results on my blood test. Actually, the best results I had in years. Uh, but unfortunately, once you start high, it's going to come crashing down. And, but at least I'm here now. I get to release some stress talking to you guys because, like I say to everybody who watches or everybody who wants to know about this show, it's like, how can you do this after working your real job for 8 hours? I'm like, this is the time of the day that's fun. I get to talk sports. I get to talk to Penguin AZ. Captain Ron's typing at me on Snapchat right now. You know, um, and let me see here. See what he had to say here. just verifying something with Captain Ron here because um, so we're just waiting to see here, just confirming some information there. So it's a little bit of a pain in the ass right now, and if I really wanted to, you know, oh, and one thing that they said was they want to put, and I would fight this because, hey, you're not coming in here and putting that stuff in there because, well, first of all, I don't know how they're going to put this in here in a room that's about 550 square feet. And Mike, who may be watching, may not be watching right now, he can vouch that this is a pretty small place. The biggest room in here is my bedroom. So I don't know how they would do this, but then again, they would figure it out and probably have like these mini washer and dryers that I remember seeing when I was shopping washers and dryers for my parents when they were still alive. Um, so we ended up, so he goes, yeah, they want to put washers, or no, the lady that's on the ground floor goes, all right, Mike's watching. Okay, good. Sorry for the lateness, Mike. You know why. I just didn't get up this morning to do my wash. I did it after work. So I'm in a little bit of a rant here, but I'm also a little bit of a explaining all the drama that's going around here. And I'm also trying to get an answer from somebody. So, um, so the lady that's on the ground floor, she said, "Oh, they should put a washer and dryer in every apartment." But I don't know what the resolution that they want to do with the situation with all the washrooms right now. So, and the painter guy says, yeah, they do that. They want to do that, and they want to charge 1,700 a month in rent. I'm like, yeah, they're not putting washers and dryers in my apartment. So, but this is a guy who's probably one of the lower men on the totem pole. So how true that is, I don't know, but there is something going on here that really pisses me off. And Mike can vouch. I don't know where they would put the washer and dryer in here. I guess the one big closet that I have in the between the living room and bathroom. But I just don't know how they're going to do it. But then again, that's not my problem. And and I can hear a lot of people that are watching in their mind saying, "Dude, why don't you just get a house?" Well, I like the apartment life. I like having a small space to worry about. It's just, do I have too much stuff around? Yeah, but it's, you know, I enjoy, some people enjoy the apartment life. Some people want to have houses, and I mean, maybe if I hit the lottery or something like that, which I haven't been playing, so you know what they say, just a buck and a hope. In my case, I don't have the buck. I don't have any hope. So, but that's why I was late because everything going on with the situation, and you know I mean most of the washers were unplugged. Um, and I said to the one guy, I said, they actually took the reader out of one of the machines and never replaced it this spring, and it's now December. And he goes, "What do you mean by the reader? The thing that you put the card in?" It goes, "Oh, okay." So, but that's, I mean, if it wasn't for needing my job for at least one more year, maybe two, um, I would make like a robot after sex and nut and bolt. but without the nut. Um, but but I just think that if I were to go somewhere else in the area, I think it would be $200-300 more than this place. And some people have opinions of it. And you can, if I told you the name of the apartment, you probably would see the reviews, and you would say, well, what what you're this is a crappy apartment. It's not that crappy. All you need is four walls, which I have. You know, Granted, I have a neighbor upstairs who has thunder hose for feet, and she's about 85 pounds soaking wet if it's the person I think it is up there. And I have no problem with the neighbors across the hall. The baby cries once in a while. Okay, that happens. Um, I've actually been sleeping through the husband or whoever it is, the male provider of the house. You know, he goes in and out of there like 5 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, I've been sleeping through it, especially if I end up on the couch like I will tonight because I got to be up early. But um, yeah, so that's why I was late. Um, I had to get the essential wash done. I still have other stuff that needs to be washed, which will probably get done on Saturday because I'm on vacation. And once Friday, 6 o'clock comes around, I will have exactly 0 days left in the calendar year to work because they gave me off on Monday because I did not request a day off. I thought, okay. But I don't remember if we are open on New Year's Day or not. So I may be working New Year's Day. I don't think I am. I don't remember if we're open or closed, but and I didn't tell Mike if we were open or closed either, so I don't care. But if I got forced to work if we're open, so be it. I don't give a shit. But that was everything in a nutshell. But uh, so let's catch up on some of these stories here. Part of it was uh, some extra stuff that I printed out, and it just ended up being added on stuff to the topic here that I want to talk about here. Um, but first, let's begin with the big news. And I got a story for you for tomorrow already, only because I think I can get away with it not being a time issue. But let's begin with the New York Yankees. And apparently, the Yankees are doing exactly what some of us thought they would do, exactly what Ariel Epstein suggested when she was kind of on a rant, but kind of not. She was actually turning into everything's going to be okay. She said instead of paying one person 75 million, you can pay three, four guys, and you're not limited with $75 million on one person. Blah blah blah. So, and it is the case here because before the trade today, the Yankees since the Mets signed Juan Soto to that deal, um, they signed free agent left-handed starter Max Fried, and they made a trade with the Milwaukee Brewers for All-Star closer Devin Williams. So that was before today. Today, they get Cody Bellinger from the New York Yankees, and it's got to be more than It can't just be a minor leaguer for him, is it? I mean, maybe it is, but it just seems a little weird. Um, um, so go to MLB.com here. No, not MLB TV. No nuts. Uh, Yeah. So it's Cody Bellinger and $5 million that the Cubs will give the Yankees for right-handed pitcher Cody Poteet. And I know what Mike is saying. Cody Poteet? I know what you're saying, Mike. I definitely do. You're saying,
Who the fuck is that guy?
and I was playing my sound effects on my cell phone when I was trying to update everything before the show started because I took my highlighter with me. I took my stories with me when I was doing my watch. I was like, okay, well, and since no one was in there, now I should have did it while somebody was in there. And Mike agrees with me exactly. Um, the one thing, um, you know, I forgot what I was saying, but that's neither here nor there. So I was doing all my work, and you know, but uh, but Mike's probably typing away here. But so the Yankees get Cody Bellinger from the Cubs. They're stocking high high paid talent, high end talent since Juan Soto went to the Mets. The Yankees are going to receive $5 million to offset the salary, which is a little weird because Cody Petit. Okay, yeah. Well, Cody Petit, I don't, he is a who the fuck is that guy. So, um, so the Cubs are paying $5 million to the Yankees, and when you hear that, and actually one trade that the Yankees made a few years ago with the Pirates actually paid the Yankees $5 million. So it's like, where's Pittsburgh getting this fucking money? And but um, so the Yankees will receive $5 million. Um, Bellinger will make 27.5 million in 2025. He has a player option for 25 million in 26. So, um, so so he'll Chicago will send 2.5 million this year, an additional 2.5 million next season, either to cover the buyout of Bellinger doesn't exercise player option, or to cover his salary if he does. So, I mean, it's a drop in the bucket, but when you hear the Yankees are receiving money, it's like, really? Yankees are one of the top. I mean, it's like you're training a superstar player to with a high salary to the Dodgers, and you say, "Oh, give us 5 million so we can pay." No, you got plenty of money. You've offset the gross domestic product of 18 Central American countries. You can afford it, but um, but I guess if you think about it, is I don't know where they are um, in terms of the luxury tax or what threshold or whatever. So it may be something with that. Um, so Bellinger did opt into his contract for this year. He declined the opt out. The Cubs had spent the winter seeking a trade partner, looking to free up payroll in hopes of improving a team that went 83-79. Teams spent significant time haggling over, or these two teams spent time haggling over the amount of money the Cubs would include in a potential deal. So that's where it goes from there. And truthfully, you know, the rich get richer in terms of the Yankees, and they're pissed off after Juan Soto rejected them because of a suite that apparently that the Mets were giving him and the Yankees refused. If that's the main issue, but you got to realize that you know I think the Yankees are more. I mean, this Steinbrenner's more fiscally aware, whereas George just didn't give a shit. He was like, "Well, buy it." But I think Hal's a little less willing to spend crazy amounts of money. He will be happy with a high payroll. It's just he wants to make sure that things balance more, I guess. So you do see a little more um, fiscal conservancy, even though it's not really that fiscally conservative what he's doing. But he is trying to get a championship back to New York, and you get to the World Series. You lose to the Dodgers. You realize, hey, we got to do something about this. But I think what they're trying to do is a smart thing. Is instead of getting put on the hook for 750, 760, 775, 800 for those 15, 16 years. Because remember, they were giving him a 16th year at $5 million less for the total salary. So you would figure that he would have, but the years isn't the matter because, what's the difference between 15 and 16 years when you're going to be 40, 41 years old when you retire? So, I mean, the whole contract plays out. So, we do have these, but you do have the Mets now having to deal with $51 million a year for the next 15 years, which may turn into 55 with the way that the opt out is because it's Soto can opt out, but if he opts out, they can say, "Oh no, you don't. We're adding $4 million per year." So you're getting all these. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, Bryce Harper, 13 for 320 or whatever it ended up being." That looks like a steal if you think about it, because 13 for 320, he's only making, give or take, depending on how the contract broke down. And I looked at it a week or two ago. Um, Harper's only making in the 20s, and compared to Juan Soto, you can definitely say only in the 20s. Whereas, Soto's making 51, but and the one thing I will say is that 20 to 25, if we don't have that salary bubble burst like I think is going to happen, 20 to 25, 30, whatever the number is for the last couple of years, that's a bargain compared to what some of these guys are getting now. I mean, now granted, Shohei Ohtani is only making $2 million a year, and 68 million per year is then being uh, deferred. But if you think about it, $70 million, if it wasn't deferred, is a big deferral. I mean, not a big deferral, but a big number on your salary for the year. So, um, but would you rather pay somebody 25 million? Now, granted, he probably will be in his final legs of his career, possibly. Or do you want to have somebody making 75 to 80, or actually 50 to 55, and possibly hamstringing your payroll? But we see that Steve Cohen just doesn't care. He'll spend anything he can to win. I mean, he's turning into this generation's George Steinbrenner in the short time that he's been an owner. Isn't this Soto's fourth team in the last 4 years? At least the third. I mean, he was with. Let me pull that up here because I know it's four teams. Um, uh, I do see there's a couple of breaking stories. Well, not that breaking, but enough to. Um, Yankees. Oh wait, Mets. Duh. See, we're talking all this Mets talk, or all this Yankees talk. I'm thinking he's still with the Yankees after all this. Um, stats. Yeah, you're right, Mike. 4 and 4 years. He spent part of 22 with Washington, got traded to San Diego. Remember, he had that 15-year deal on the table for Washington for like 450, and he said, no, trade me. Or the Washington front office said, well, we're trading your ass. See ya. He didn't want to be a part of the rebuild. So they um, traded him to San Diego. He spent a season and a half there. Then 24, before the season started, he got traded to the Yankees. So this is his fourth team in the last 4 years. So good job, Mike. Um, I thought he got traded in 21, but I remember him moping like a little bitch in left field the one day. So, and Mike did get one right. So do I have? Yeah, Mike got one right. That's a preset one, Mike. That's not uh, one of my ones that I normally use. So, but you do have, um, so you do have that, and you know, but at least Soto won't be going on 5 teams in 5 years, unless whatever. But he's going to be with the Mets for a while. Hopefully, it's a burden to them, but Steve Cohen just doesn't care. He's going to spend as much as it takes to win a championship, and then even more to win the next one, and even more to win the next one, and even more to win the next one. So hopefully, there's a lot of doom and gloom in Flushing over the next 15 years. And if I had the toilet flush sound drop, I would have played that because that's what we hope the Mets do, at least as Philly sports fans. So, but yeah, so Mike did get that right. So I did confuse 21 and 22. So, but I'm not giving myself one of those. So, um, so that was the breaking baseball news, and I do have two different stories that came up here within the last couple of hours here. Um, Now, yesterday we said that Michael Vick was in the running for the Sacramento State job. Um, Sources tell ESPN that Michael Vick has informed Sacramento State that he is no longer in the mix for their open head coaching position, and indicated to him that he's taking a job closer to home at Norfolk State. So he plans to accept that head coaching job. The Spartans are finalizing that deal. Norfolk State officials declined to comment on Vick specifically when reached by ESPN. Um, the officials said they would not release a statement Tuesday, but plan to release one soon, indicating that they were going through the formal steps of their hiring process. So, um, and this was first originally reported by the Virginia Pilot newspaper, or Virginia Pilot website that goes with the newspaper. So Michael Vick will be close to home at Norfolk State. So, smart move, but um, I guess if the coaching thing doesn't work, you can always go back to Fox or go to ESPN or whatever. So, um, and I did mention last night close to home. I don't remember that, but take Mike's word for it. But then again, coaching close to home may be a bad thing too, because now everybody's going to want to watch to see him play, and they're going to go directly to him for tickets. It's like, now you talk to the AD or you pay the money. But then we have this breaking news. And despite winning last night, Kirk Cousins is heading to the bench And the new starter is Michael Penix Jr. He's taking over for Kirk Cousins here. Um, Mars said in a statement released by the team today that after review, we have made the decision Michael Penix will be the Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback moving forward. This was a football decision that we're fully focused on preparing the team for Sunday's game against the New York Giants. Well, he does get a soft start there. Falcons beat the Raiders 15-9, but Cousins was just 11 for 16 passing for 112 yards with a touchdown and interception. He has 9 interceptions and just 1 touchdown pass in the past 5 games. Um, so, um, Cousins is in the first year of a 4-year, $180 million contract. About $100 million is guaranteed, though most of that money comes off the books by 2026. The Falcons will pay Cousins $62.5 million this season. Um, so Atlanta's still in the playoff hunt in 7-7, though the 4-game losing streak sent the team plummeting from its first place perch in the NFC South. Um, when the Falcons drafted Penix, Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot made it clear that Cousins was the quarterback of the present and Penix is the quarterback of the future. Um, Cousins was caught off guard, no surprise, when he was drafted. Um, Cousins and Penix live on the same street in suburban Georgia and sometimes carpool to the team playing for road games. Um, Earlier this month, Penix said he was supporting Cousins. Okay. So we have a changing of the guard there. Mike said it's about time, and let the penis jokes fly. I did post something in SJ's Discord about some guy had a jersey made somehow. It got through the censors. I imagine it's like one of those shops that like there used to be a shop on Bustleton Avenue across the street from the mall. It used to be a jersey store, and you can get custom made jerseys. So, you know, like, and you can get your fair share of crazy jerseys. You can get my balls itch 00, something like that. Or, but this guy had penis junior and the number 9 on it. So, but Michael Penix Jr. takes over there as well. So thought I would mention that as well. So just things I saw there. Actually saw the Penix news. Um, I mean, I saw the one story. I saw the Penix story when I was at the laundromat. But I did not see the Michael Vick thing. I saw Norfolk was trending on Twitter today, but I couldn't really find anything about it. Or I wasn't trying hard enough. But um, so we'll see what's going on there. So just to let you guys know, there is no. Um, it was confirmed from Captain Ron tonight that there is no Anarchy show. He's going to be doing it Thursday night. So Thursday night, we will have the hard out at 11 o'clock. I probably will still have a hard out at 11 tonight, only because I got to be up early again. But let's get into all this. Let's get into all this portal talk here, and we're going to focus specifically on both Penn State and the SMOOs of SMU. And we talked about it a couple of times over the last week or two, and the one thing is, I understand at least why they have the portal window on December 9th, even though it's a bad spot. Well, this year was December 9th. But I understand why it's both good and bad. Now, if you look at it in terms of the um, if you look at it in terms of the academic calendar, I know their student athletes gasp. If you think about it, the semester or the quarter, depending on how their schedule is set up, because at Drexel, I think they're going back to the semester system, but they used to be on a quarterly system. So whether I think Ohio State has quarters, Oregon has quarters. You find out what schools, the big time college schools in college football have those quarters, because even though they're out of school, because they said, "Hey, I'm going pro," "Hey, I'm not coming back." Um, I gave the camera the bird, by the way, for those that are listening after the fact. Um, you do have a rule in place where if their school is still in session, they can't practice during OTAs or whatever. I think that's the rule. So you do have these schools, quarters, whatever, but at least for this time of the year, the schools that have the quarter sessions and those that have the semester sessions, they're both probably out of school by now. So it makes sense, even though the regular season is over and you still have the bowl games and you still have the bowl games and now you have the expanded college football playoffs. In a way, it made sense that you have the portal window on starting on the 9th, which was last Monday. So it kind of makes sense in terms of the academic side. But in regards to the football side, it makes zero sense. And more coaches and players are sounding off about it. And I think if enough people sound off about it, because Lane Kiffin did, and that was the entree into this story from last week or 2 weeks ago. Um, you know, like that little snowball. It starts off real small, and the next thing you know, you got an avalanche. Um, but I really think that if enough people complain, especially schools that are in the college football playoff, maybe they'll consider changing things up. Because the one thing is, the window for this year is from the 9th to the 28th. But those in the college football playoff, they get a couple extra days because the playoffs, and I think bowl teams do as well. But Bo Pribula, who was the backup quarterback for Penn State, he announced that he was entering the transfer portal and leaving the team ahead of the college football playoff, citing an overlapping college football playoff and transfer portal timeline. So now when a player has a problem with it, kids, most kids just don't give a shit. They'll just say, "See ya, you're not giving me playing time. I'm going over here. I'm even going to go to your arch rival. Goodbye." So Pribula, who's a redshirt sophomore from York, Pennsylvania, had been a key part of Penn State's offense throughout the season while playing behind starter Drew Aller. And he gave the first-year offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki a unique change-up quarterback with some of the things that Pribula was doing. So he was second on the team with rushing touchdowns with 6, was third in both carries with 38 and rushing yards with 242. So even though I don't watch Penn State games, I still read the articles and stuff like that. So because if somebody pops a Penn State question on me, I'll be like, I'm not just going to just say fuck Penn State, even though that's my comment most times anyway. But I'll try to make an informed guess here on what, but he completed 26 to 35 passes, 5 touchdowns, interception. Most of his action was in the game against Washington at Wisconsin when he replaced an injured Aller and completed 11 to 13 passes, 98 yards and touchdown, added 20 yards. Pribula said on social media, the current NCAA postseason model creates a challenge for student athletes. The overlapping college football playoff and transfer portal timeline has forced me into an impossible decision. After speaking at length with family and coaches, it is with a heavy heart that I announce my intentions to enter the transfer portal and depart from the team to explore opportunities elsewhere. So, this is obviously this is not something that a decision he took lightly because you want to play and you're thinking you're going to play next year. Then Drew Aller, who mentions he's coming back, I'll mention that again in a second. Obviously, you're like, well, I ain't playing here, so I need to play somewhere because if I want to get to the NFL, I want to have as much video as possible for the NFL scouts to look at. Pribula isn't the first quarterback to enter the portal before his team competes in the college playoff. Former Texas backup Malik Murphy entered the portal mid-December and departed the team before the Longhorns faced Washington in the CFP semifinal. He transferred to Duke, started throughout the 2024 season before re-entering the portal. Aller and Pribula are the only quarterbacks to attempt passes. Their tight end Tyler Warren also threw 5 attempts. So that's the Penn State side of it. At least the player side. James Franklin defended backup quarterback Drew Pribula, saying, "We got problems in college football and that Pribula should not be put into this position." And, Mike, I'm going to say it once again. I agree with James Franklin. Maybe my doctor should have asked for not only a blood test, but a drug test too, because that's twice now I've agreed with the head coach of that pathetic university. Franklin said the timing of the open transfer portal, which overlaps with the college football playoff preparation and games, creates urgency for quarterbacks to make their transfer decisions and creates an untenable situation. I mentioned what Pribula said. Yeah, Mike says, "Who are you?" I know exactly what you're thinking.
Who the fuck is that guy?
And the reason why he entered the portal is because Drew Aller informed Penn State and coaches that he was returning for the 2025 season. Franklin said, "We got problems in college football. I can give you my word, Bo Pribula did not want to leave our program, and he did not want to leave our program until the end of the season. But the way the portal is and the timing of it, and the way our team is playing, and when you play the position of quarterback, there's only one spot, and those spots are filling up. He felt like he was put in a no-win situation." I agree with him. So he also added, "Number one, I hate it. Most importantly for Bo Pribula, I don't think it's in the best interest of the student athlete. I don't think it's in the best interest of college football." Yeah. And other coaches are saying it too. And the thing is, this isn't just a knee-jerk reaction that Pribula decided to leave Penn State. Pribula had multiple conversations with Franklin before finalizing his decision and his timing. So this isn't something where I say, "I'm out, coach, fuck you." It isn't anything like that. It's like, he consulted somebody. He made sure he was making the right decision. Now, granted, I'm sure Franklin wanted him to stay, but obviously when you're getting to be a redshirt junior, I believe. Let me double check that. So he's a redshirt sophomore this year, so he's going to be a redshirt junior next year. Obviously, you want to get on the field, especially if you have dreams of wanting to play professional football at the next level in the NFL. You got to get as much video and play time as possible. And it's a smart move by him by saying, you know what, I'm not getting it. I would only get 1 year here. And even if I only got 1 year, that's no guarantee. So why don't I go somewhere else? Okay. But, at least he didn't just leave and said, all right, Franklin, you're on your own. Figure it out yourself. He was trying to do what was best for the team, best for him, best for the coach. Obviously, and I'm sure there's many different players, student athletes. I know that's the correct term I should be using. Student athletes. I'm sure many student athletes are saying, "I'm going." I'm sure they did that, but you know, I think that it is definitely something that shows your maturity. Even though things aren't going your way, you at least told your coach, hey, you know, this is what I'm thinking, blah, blah, blah. And, and I'm sure James Franklin knows all about the transfer portal because I'm sure he's trying to poach student athletes from other teams as well. So, I could see that. But, I think that not only is it good that the student athlete is open with the coach and the transfer pool. I'll answer that. I'll comment that in a second, or I'll fly that in. Um, we'll you know, and I think that even if, like, let's say you you're like you're talking to a kid at your high school. You're going back to the game and you're visiting, and you're going to a playoff game and you're on the sideline. I'm sure if somebody said, "Hey, you were at Penn State," I think that the fact that you had an adult conversation, at least from what we're seeing here in this article, it's a good thing that you see that because it isn't GTFO. He had to make a tough decision, and Mike made a comment that the current playoff format has changed the transfer portal. Not really, um, because transfer portal's only been around for a few years in this type of a setup, and it actually, at least how I understand it, and even if you're watching on X, and if you're mentioning I'm wrong, or even if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to fire in. I'll admit when I'm wrong, most of the time. But something like this, I will guarantee that I will admit I'm wrong and give you credit for it. But um, when it comes to this, I think that they have the portal because for half of the schools, their season is over, and you also get everybody doing the CMC thing where I'm not going to play in that bowl game because I'm a first round draft pick. I'm going to be a first round draft pick in the NFL. I don't want to get hurt in the useless Sun Bowl or the Pull and Weed Eater Bowl or whatever bowl game that was this past Saturday night that I didn't realize was playing because I thought that they didn't have any games until I thought that they waited a couple extra days after the Heisman ceremony and the Army Navy game. So I thought that as well. But, You get all these bowl games where they're changing names, like I change underwear, which is daily. So I don't want you to think that I only change my underwear once a year, but if I have to, I will. But um, but I just feel like now that we got a little bit more momentum in how the transfer portal should be changed, maybe it does get changed. And if it does get changed, maybe it changes for the better. But the only problem is, even though some will say, he ain't going to class, get the out of here. You know, there's still there's still academics involved, you would think, or at least you want to make it look like that academics is involved. So you definitely want to do that. But the problem is, like if you're in a quarterly system, you're starting probably the classes are probably starting uh, on Monday the 6th. At least with a semester, you probably don't start until the 22nd, maybe the 15th. But I think one of the things that the NCAA would say, and I'm doing some mod work here as well here. Report. Um, 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 Possible. And I do apologize to those that are watching this, listening and watching this after the fact here. Um, being impossible. So, sometimes I have to do that myself, and that's fine. You know, Mike saw it briefly. You know, cheap viewers, blah blah blah. So, um, but I understand why they put that where it is because it's a combination of the end of the regular season for football and also getting them to their new school in January. So I understand that, but it doesn't help them out. So, um, but at least um, Pribula was um, was professional with the way he acted there. So good for him. Now, SMU coach Rhett Lashley, who will be on the other sideline of Saturday's playoff game, freezing his ass off at State College, he suggested the portal window should be eliminated, decrying that players have to make decisions on about whether to transfer or play in the college football playoff. So both sides of this matchup are saying the same thing. He spoke during his news conference before the first round matchup against Penn State. He said having an open portal window while prepping for a postseason game is terrible, while also noting the decision that Penn State's backup made the decision that the backup quarterback made to enter the portal. Lashley said, "I feel so awful for our kids and kids around the country. There's no other sport at all that has free agency in the season," which is very true. It's sad. It's terrible. You hear the story about their backup quarterback saying, "I don't have a choice." That's wrong. That's unacceptable. It's not okay. They shouldn't have to make that decision. SMU backup quarterback Preston Stone, who lost his job in week 3, has chosen to stay with the Mustangs for their playoff run. But Lashley said, "We're working with him, but it's still a juggling act." And like I said, the portal window is the 9th to 20th. So this article is actually telling me when those dates are. Although players who made it to the college football playoff have a 5-day window to enter starting the day after their season ends. So if you go all the way to the finals, you still have that 5-day window. It's just that you're not getting the pick of the litter here. You're ending up at, Northwest Bumblefuck State. So Lashley said the real easy thing is don't have a transfer portal in December. That's the easy answer. It also solves all the problems. Why in the world would you put kids in a position where they've got to decide? Do I transfer a play in the playoff? Do I transfer a play in my bowl game? Scholastically, it doesn't make sense either because your years end in May, not in December. That's true, but I did mention the semesters and quarters because you could, if you're at Kent State and you went 0-12 and you want to get the hell out of there, you got no problems. But teams that are playing in the playoffs or playing in bowl games, obviously you get in this situation. Lashley also said to take another look at the calendar, which should be the case here. People are bombarding our roster, trying to pick people off our roster. We're trying to focus on the playoffs. So, yeah, it's real easy. Don't have a transfer portal in December. Go to the spring. Okay, I agree with that. I mean, it's the only way you can do it if you believe academics is a thing with college football as well. Now, if that were to happen, Lashley said they should also consider moving more towards an NFL model when it comes to spring practices, which will begin after the portal closes, like OTAs in the NFL. So, so a lot of great points, even from the San Antonio coach, which is a good thing because guess what? It isn't just Penn State. I mean, it's all these schools that are getting bombarded, and even the schools that are disappeared. Like for example, Marshall, their head coach ended up taking the job at Southern Mississippi, and even though I didn't highlight that as a story here, all the players at Marshall, I think it was like 35 of them, they all went into the transfer portal. Most of them went to Southern Miss. Marshall does not have enough players to play in the bowl game. They had to pull out. I think it was the Independence Bowl, which used to be the Poland Wheat Eater Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, that's the game that's in Shreveport, right? Uh, go here. This is the best way to do it. No, that's what I want here. So let me find it here just so I can confirm. I think it was they're playing Army. Yeah, they're in Shreveport, Louisiana, at Independence Stadium for the Independence Bowl. Not in the Independence Today Bowl. That's a game for people over the age of 75 who have problems with peeing and shitting all the time. Uh, but you know, Louisiana Tech, who was 5-7, because one thing that they said could have been a problem, which thankfully Louisiana Tech stepped up as a 5-7 school. They said, "Well, we're not far away from there, and blah blah blah. We'll play." So they're taking the place of Marshall here. Marshall, unfortunately, had to pull out the transfer portal, and that may be even more reason to change the transfer portal stuff. So, um, maybe they do it as January after the season's over, after the postseason is over. I don't know, but we'll see. But I did see that. I never really mentioned it because I think it happened over the weekend, and actually, yeah, it happened Saturday because they announced it on Saturday, and maybe that's part of the reason why Army played like total shit while Navy had a couple of weeks off. Maybe it was because Army got word that, hey, we may not have a bowl game to play. So probably a little depression involved, even though, they're military men. But, you do have that. So, um, but they did save the day with Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's not far from Shreveport, I don't believe, but I know obviously they're in the state. But it's kind of like when you look at the 4 racetracks in the state of Louisiana, and they're like one is in the southeast, which is one in the southeast, which is the fairgrounds in New Orleans. You have one in the southwest, one in the southeast, one in the southwest, one in the northwest, one towards the northeast. So you have 4 tracks around the state: Louisiana Downs, Evangeline Downs, and Delta Downs. Delta and um, Fairgrounds are running right now. Delta, I think, is southeast. But don't quote me on that because aside from the fairgrounds, I couldn't put them on a map. So I believe Shreveport is in the northwest because they get the Dallas people, and who knows. But anyways, enough about that. Enough where in the world is Carmen Sandiego crap, and let's get to the NBA All-Star Game. And it was announced that the format has changed. And those that are watching, yes, we are going past 11 o'clock tonight because Anarchy will be on Thursday night, 11 o'clock, which means I'll have a hard out on Thursday. And I might start on time because it's been a rough week, and probably tomorrow I'll be starting late as well, but that's fine. The NBA All-Star Game is going to be an all-star tournament this season, with the league announcing it has finalized plans to use a different format for the upcoming midseason showcase in San Francisco. And the scoring is sure to be down as well. It's going to be a 4-team, 3-game, one-night tournament with 3 teams of 8 All-Stars, 8 All-Stars apiece, and a 4th team being the winner of the Rising Stars Challenge for first and second year players. The winning team in all games will be first to score 40 points. So a little bit like the Big Three, but a full court game instead of a half court game. So, and a little bit like the way the NHL has their All Star Game now, where you play a tournament, but they have 4 divisions, so maybe they do next year 4 divisions of All Stars. Who knows? But I mean, you can tweak this a little bit, or you can have the Rising Star game as the 14th. So um, this will happen on February 16th, home of the Golden State Warriors. Rising Star event will be on Friday, February 14th. Adam Silver wanted a more competitive All Star event after last year's 397-point game. 211 to 186 was the final in last season's game at Indianapolis. The teams took 289 shots in that game. 94% of them were either inside the paint or beyond the 3-point line. So that mid-range jumper. That game perfectly showed that the mid-range jumper is dead in pro NBA. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander said, obviously the elephant in the room being us competing, them trying to shake things up is expected to make sense. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to whether the players want to go at it. I will also love to see that, love to be part of that for sure. There's been other formats in recent years. The first 66 games were like a normal game, East versus West, 4 quarters, 12 minutes. Then they went to the format in which the leading vote getters from each conference served as captains, and they got to draft their teams. Now, this is the one that I think really got the most competitive, and I wish they did not go away from this. In 4 of those captain's pick years, the All-Star games used a target score at the end of the game called the Elam ending. It ensured that a winner was decided on a made shot. Fourth quarters were untimed, and the winner was the first team to reach whatever the leading team score was after 3 quarters, plus 24 points. The 24 being a nod to Kobe Bryant's last jersey number. And the way the Elam ending is, it was like, let's say when they stopped the clock, it was 103 to 95. So the winning team had to get to 127. So that's what they did there. But I think part of the reason why they didn't do it is because I think one game was a blowout. Another game, nobody was scoring because everybody was playing defense even tighter than what they would in a regular season or playoff game. But they went back to the East versus West format last season. Luka tried a 70-foot jumper. Donovan Mitchell threw a 50-foot underhand inbound pass. Bam Adebayo inbounded the ball to himself by tossing off Nikola Jokic's backside. It was a circus. It was a shit show. Hopefully, the league thinks that they found their answer here. The All-Star voting format is unchanged, at least for this year. It'll be a weighted formula, 50% fan vote, 25 media, and 25% current player vote to determine the 10 players who will be designated as starters, quote-unquote starters. NBA head coaches will pick the 14 players designated as reserves. But the starter and reserve columns won't mean much on game night because there will be 15 different players starting, 5 from each of the 3 teams, obviously, and only 9 players coming from off the bench in those semifinal games because it's only going to be 8 players per side. How the teams will be picked. Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith will draft the teams from the 24-player All-Star pool on February 6th because the game is on TNT, so that's why they're doing that. And there'll be Team Shaq, Team Charles, and Team Kenny. The Rising Star winner that'll go to the All-Star tournament would be called Team Candace for Candace Parker. She's also an analyst on there. The coaching staffs from the East, from the teams from the best records in the East and Western conferences will go to the All-Star game. Now, it cannot be Milwaukee or Minnesota, so keep that in mind because they coached last year. The East and West head coaches will each coach a team in a tournament. One assistant coach from each staff will serve as a head coach for the other 2 teams in the All-Star tournament. So those 2 assistant coaches will get a chance to be a head coach. Prize money, $1.8 million. Each player of the All-Star champion will get $125,000. Each player on the runner-up team will get $50K. Teams eliminated in the semifinals will get $25K. So a little bit different, and probably that pool will continue to rise as we go on further. Um, you know, maybe maybe this is something that the NBA needed, and hopefully it will be competitive. And I'm sure that ratings will probably be up for the All Star game because just for the sake of, hey, what's this? What's this All Star game format? And you can do all that too. Um, so it'd be interesting what they do there with that. So that is the case with there. Um, One more story I'll cover tonight before we close up shop here. Um, Live Golf and Fox Sports are engaged in high level discussions toward a television contract for the 2025 season. That was first reported by the Sports Business Journal. Specific details are not clear, including which Fox property would broadcast the tournaments and whether Fox would pay a fee for the rights, per the report. What is clear is that if a deal is reached with a major network, it will give Live Golf increased exposure and credibility because they were on CW. And over the past 2 seasons, but the viewership had been very low. Per Golf Week, fewer than 100,000 people tuned in to watch John Rahm win the individual championship last year. So they're scheduled the individual championship for August 15 to 17th at Club at Chatham Hills near Indianapolis. And those dates do not conflict with NFL games or college games. So it is working. So it does look like that they are going to go into the Fox Sports Network, probably be on FS1, FS2, FS8 The Ocho, and whatever. So actually, we're getting done here right at 11 o'clock. So it's like almost like, so. So I just want to remind you as well, check out Rebet. It is our one of the partners that we have. Um, uh, and by the way, that person that spammed, he got banned already. So just want to remind you about Rebet. It's our fun little sports book that we have here, and I am going to share that in the chat room here. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, you'll see the link there. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100 with that link. If you need to put in a code, it's Bleacher, BLEACHER, and put $100 in. They're going to give you 100. If it's 75, they'll give you 75. But it's up to $100, and you can catch me on there. You can catch AJ, Toby, all the guys on Bleacher Brothers. Bleacher Bet is very active. I'm somewhat active, and we have a couple of active things as well. So, but it's a fun little app. You can also go head to head. So let's say you saw my bet tonight, which is a loser, I believe. Yeah, Bucks are going to win the NBA Cup this year. Congrats to Doc Rivers. He actually wins a championship other than the NBA championship. Now we'll see if he can get past the second round in the actual playoffs at the end of the year. But I figured they would lose last week, the other night, but they didn't. But, and that's a sarcastic congratulations to him as well, by the way. So, check out that app, and if you download it, you can follow me, AJ, Bleacher Bet, Toby, and a whole bunch of other guys that are on Bleacher Brothers. And if you do sign up, let me know so I can get credit for that as well. So, and also, even though I don't have it loaded on here, my show. My show also eligible is Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Just to let you know, next week there are no there are no Joe Quill shows. I am taking the week off, so I'm going to be completely off, both work wise and here. But we will have three also eligibles in the next week. We're going to have a show this Saturday at 10 a.m. Um, I think I know where we're going to lean. I would prefer Gulfstream, but I think we're going to end up with Fairgrounds. Um, I would prefer Gulfstream because I can make a joke about one of the races. But I don't think I want to make one of those races. I don't want to turn into a joke because I want to make sure that I can actually step on the grounds of Gulfstream Park next month when we're down there for the Pegasus. Also, one thing I do want to do, and AJ texted me this afternoon. We have a show on Tuesday afternoons. It's Conversations with Jeff DeForest. We call him Defo. And I was in heaven while I was working. You know, these customers, they're giving me a hard time. And like, I couldn't give a shit because we had the racetrack announcer at Gulfstream Park, Pete Aiello, and they surprised him with his good friend. I think he was his mentor, and also a contestant on The Price is Right, Frank Miramati. He is the track announcer of both Santa Anita and Saratoga. He was on there for the second half of the show, so it should be on YouTube. It may be on Twitch, but it's definitely on YouTube. Check it out. I had a blast watching that while I was working. AJ texted me middle of the show, and he texted me about 4 o'clock, and he said, "Are you watching Defo right now? Gulfstream and Santa Anita track announcers." I said, "I'm fucking loving it. Shame I'm working. I'm paying attention though." But it was a great. I mean, especially for me. Once in a while, I forget that. I see the alert on my phone, and it's like I get tied up, but not the way I prefer to get tied up, by the way. Uh, but uh, Defo has his show Conversations on Tuesdays. Thursday is his. Um, Jesus Christ, what's the name of his show? I'm confusing his Thursday show with the shows that he has on No Filter. God damn it. Um, God damn it. Today was Conversations, and that is on there. The Thursday show is not on here. Oh, well. Here it is. License to Steal. So that's the other show that's on Thursday at 4 o'clock. So, thankfully, I don't have to do the programming for the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network when the app comes out live on Monday the 6th. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. I just have to worry about my show because I couldn't keep track. So, thankfully, AJ probably has this spreadsheet or whatever it is, whatever he's doing, or maybe it's all just in his head. But either way, bleacherbrothers.com for all your sports needs. So, but also, I mean, especially if you're a horse racing fan, that was a great show today. So check that out on YouTube, especially because I did see it on there. But that is going to be it for tonight's show. A little bit of a shorter show tonight. We started late, but we will be back here live tomorrow night. I think we're starting at 9 o'clock. Especially if you follow me on Twitch. make sure those notifications are on, because when I go live, you'll get the alert, and you will also get to see the funny comment on here that I have on there, which is I don't even know it. Oh, unlike Santa, I don't stop at three hoes. So, just a little fun thing, a little fun I have with you guys. So that is it for now. I do appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch the show here. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to Penguin AZ for joining me, and everybody who's watching, who's just lurking around and watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate those that watch after the fact. And I appreciate those that listen after the fact, because I will get this up sometime tomorrow morning. So I do appreciate everybody, and we'll do it live again tomorrow night. Make sure those alerts are ready, so when I go live, you'll be must see Joe, must see. So, anyways, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the winner's circle, and